Hello, mind friends. I wanted to make a quick observational kind of video for you. This one's going to be really challenging for your brain. I'm not going to funnel you off to anywhere except maybe to check out my website. But the purpose of this video is going to be to really seriously challenge your brain. It might give you a tension headache, and I am positive I'm going to get at least a few pieces of hate mail over this, which isn't my intention. It's just going to be a byproduct of me telling the truth. And here's what it is. This has everything to do with, say, 49 out of 50 of you out there are living the lifestyle of a socialist. You may not be a socialist at your core, but hear me out. And it's okay if you disagree with me. Believe me, it's quite all right. So think about it. You go to work every day. You have a job. It's going to either pay you salary or hourly. This is true with every job except salespeople that occupy a position of a job. They make commissions and things like that. But if you're hourly or salary, you are paid, let's say, I don't know, for example, $10 an hour. Okay, so your employer is legally obligated by law to pay you $10 times however many hours that you worked, regardless of any value that you did or did not put into your job. Same thing with salary. You're paid on an annual basis, and you get paid time off and things like that. But it's for your time, either way that you slice it, regardless of your value. Zero value, 100% entitlement for your time. That's something that everybody agrees is complete socialist. Almost everybody that has a job, like probably 99.9% of you out there that have a job, you would never say that you're a socialist or that you agree with socialism. And maybe in your heart you're not a socialist, but based on how you spend your time, in this case at a job, based on how you fund your lifestyle and how you support your family, it's all socialism. 100% socialism, zero value driven, 100% entitlement and socialist driven. I bet you've never looked at it that way before. Now, when you get a pay raise, whoever decides that, they're going to take into account value and how well you play the game of office politics. Some places are going to be more value lopsided, good in my opinion. Some places are going to be more office politics lopsided. That's stupid in my opinion, but that's the way that it is. But it's always going to be a mix of those two. Things like seniority, tenureship, and other things like that only matter at pyramid schemes like your job. Seniority and tenureship has nothing to do with value. How much time and effort you put into something has nothing to do with value. Those things only matter in entitlement-driven socialist pyramid schemes. Period. That's the only place where those things matter. And 49 out of 50 people of you out there are living that lifestyle. All the while, socialism is not in your heart. I get that. But maybe after seeing this video, you'll connect the dots and you'll just have this whole new revelation. And this is a tough pill to swallow. Believe me, I know this is really difficult to digest. And some of you will absolutely not hear it. It doesn't matter how true it is, you just won't hear it. Others of you, you'll totally hear this. And you'll begin a new journey. You'll make some different decisions. You'll make some new discoveries that will lead you down a totally different path. And you're going to probably be a lot happier for it, believe me. When I made these discoveries, I decided I cannot participate in this anymore. I will never, ever have a job again. It took me a transition of about 2.5 years. But in February of 2010, after starting in August of 2007 down this new journey, I arrived at that awesome place of, see ya, you're fired. I fired my boss. For me, that meant calling off the job search forever because I never did find work again after I lost my job to cheaper wages in India. So for me, firing my boss was exactly that. It was, either way, it's extremely liberating. Nowadays, my income is all residual, it's passive, it's all 100% value driven. I'm not guaranteed a paycheck by anybody except the guarantee I put into myself. That's value. That is the anti-socialist way to live. And that it is what it is, not to put it down or to be wrong or to be right. If you have a job, you're living the life of a socialist. Even if you're not one at heart, a job is a socialist position 100%. There's no doubt about it. Your pay raise, well, that's a combination of socialist and value. And the mix is going to depend on, who you're working for, what their values are, to be honest with you. And seniority and tenureship, those are all pyramid scheme type ideas. I want nothing to do with those ridiculous things. Now, a job. I will tell you this, has a place in our culture. In fact, it's vital that we have jobs. And I think it's great that people want jobs, but hear me out. If you depend on a job for money, that is the most destructive, ridiculous, self-sabotaging idea that exists in your brain. And if you have a family, God forbid, you are putting them, the vulnerability in your family, you are putting them at the highest risk possible on planet Earth by depending on an income from a job. Now, if you've got a side income from something, an asset that you own, that you developed over time, and it pays you residually and passively enough to cover all of your expenses, your family's expenses, and you still want a job, totally cool. You're fine. You're covered. But if you depend on a job, whether you love your job or not, it doesn't matter if you love your job. There's a lot of people that love their job, but they're needy for their job. Otherwise, they can't keep the lights on at home and feed their family. Who cares if you love your job? Your family's at risk, the highest risk possible. It doesn't matter if you love your job anymore. You're participating in a pyramid scheme racket that you have to perpetually steal time out of your life and out of your family, or you stop getting paid and you can no longer provide nourishment from your family. It's the most destructive idea that most people cling to and defend as something that's smart and legitimate. It's not smart or legitimate or safe or any of those things. So that's something new for you to think about. I told you this was going to challenge the way that you've always thought. I mean, you've been conditioned to believe the exact opposite from what I'm saying. I was too. It was a tough pill for me to swallow, but I was open. I did it. I got past it. I moved on, and life is so much freaking better. Life is a lot better. So just absorb this. Listen to this video again if you need to. If you like the message of this video, congratulations. You're probably of the minority. Just so you know. Feel free to share this. I mean, if this is a message you feel that's worth getting out there to challenge people's ideas, to challenge the status quo of which, by the way, 98% of the population is either dead or dead broke before the age of 65, depending on the federal government, friends and family as the main source of their income. If you don't like that status quo, oh dear God, who would like that status quo? Feel free to share this video, man. Click share or share it with people. Get this conversation going. Not to put people down or anything like that. I mean, I'm no better than anybody else. I'm just different because I've changed my mind, and anybody can be different. Anybody can be their own different. You can decide whatever kind of different that you want to be. That's a pretty cool thing. And you know what's really cool about a residual and passive income, other than the fact that it sets a person free? Really, it sets a person free, and it's all value driven. The opposite of socialism is that you can develop one by pulling more of your true, authentic self out of you and into the world, and you gift the world with you. You are an absolute gift. As long as you're out of the business of building up this facade to protect your ego from getting hurt, you are an absolute gift to the world. And people can get to know the real you. And then you can share things with the world that nobody else can share, because you are, and you're you. You're the only you that's out there, and that's true for everybody. But most people have this stupid facade they build to protect their ego from getting hurt and make stupid statements, and won't hear a message like this, unfortunately. But you can hear a message like this, and you can carve out your own path, and you can challenge the status quo, and you can get out of any dependency that you might currently have in a job to support yourself and your family, because it is the most destructive idea that anybody subscribes to, and it's the one that most people subscribe to. How scary is that? If you got value from this, I'm going to close this video off now. Go to my website, fireyourboss.xyz, not .com.xyz, fireyourboss.xyz. Thousands of pieces of content I put out there. Pull from it whatever you need to connect with where you're at right now and help you go wherever you want to go. Share this video if you know somebody who would like this message too. And I'll be making my next video very soon, because I really love making these videos. It's a labor of love, and I love being able to tell the truth, and I love being able to be myself. I really, really, truly do, because then it gives you a chance to get to know the real me instead of a facade I've built over myself. I used to have one of those too, by the way, so I'm not pointing fingers. I used to have a facade. That sucker is shattered. I took it off and threw it away. And that's one of the most liberating things I've ever done. Freedom of the mind is a beautiful thing. Freedom follows freedom of the mind. Freedom of your time, financial freedom follows freedom of the mind. And taking a challenging message that I just put out in this video, that is some serious freedom of the mind stuff. You have to be really open and humble to accept a message like I just put out there and let it begin helping you to carve a new, better path that's actually more in alignment with who you truly are anyway, than working away at some pyramid scheme depending on that to nourish yourself and your family. This is so much better. Residual, passive money, authentic self, putting family first, putting whatever it is that your heart bleeds for to put first, instead of stealing time perpetually away from yourself and your family and whatever else that's important to you to build somebody else's pyramid scheme. Pyramid schemes are dumb. Don't participate in a pyramid scheme or any pyramid scheme. I'm in a home business, the complete opposite of a pyramid scheme, 100% value driven. And if you don't believe that your job is a pyramid scheme, no matter how great your job is and how much you love it, let me ask you this. Who makes the bulk of the money at the company you work for? It's the few people at the top. What's a pyramid scheme? It's one of those things where a few people at the top make the bulk of the money and everyone else gets, less and less and they get screwed. That's every job that exists. Every job is a pyramid scheme. Every flippin' last one of them is a pyramid scheme. You can have a job, but don't depend on it to afford your lifestyle and to nourish your family. Dear God, don't depend on one to nourish your family. The most destructive idea ever. Just recognize it is what it is, and that jobs they absolutely have to exist, and there has to be people to fill them, but just don't be one of those foolish people that fills them at the expense of your freedom. Don't be needy on a job. If you have a job, have it because you love it and you've got some other income on the side that's residual and passive that covers all of you and your family's expenses. All right, that's the message of this video. Don't be a socialist. Be value driven. Value. It's not only for yourself, but value is also very humble and selfless, because the more value you put out there, your income is 100% attached to value you put out in the marketplace. That's how you help other people. That's when you take the issue off of yourself and you positively impact other people. Whether it's human trafficking, children's sex slavery, factory farming, and out-of-control pharmaceutical, and the environment, global warming. There's so many things out there. Whatever it is that your heart bleeds for. The great thing about a passive and residual income, other than it creates freedom, and it's all value-driven, but because it's value-driven, that value affects other people. It's a win-win deal. Win-win-win for everybody that's involved and positively impacted. And you take the issue off of yourself. You put an ego in its little corner. You stop protecting your ego from getting hurt. You keep your ego reined in and be more humble. And you can totally take the issue off yourself and help a bunch of people at the same time that you're helping yourself. The best way to help yourself is to help a bunch of people. Zig Ziglar said something that's pretty profound. Best way to get everything that you want is to help everybody else get what they want. You help enough people pay their bills, your bills disappear. You can draw whatever analogy you want, however many parallels, but that's it. You provide enough value in other people's lives, you get value in your own life. If you're going to work a job that's socialist, value doesn't matter anymore. Then it's just your time and you're entitled to a paycheck. How stupid is that? How socialist is that? Jobs are socialist, period. Hope you enjoyed this video. I'm going to close this off for real now. Some of you totally jumped on this and others are very offended. I totally get it, and I'm okay with that. I'm going to speak the truth anyway, and I'll attract who I'm organically supposed to attract. And the fact that I am totally myself unapologetically means I'm going to attract some people in my life, as I have and I always will, that are attracted to me instead of some stupid facade that I put out there because I'm afraid of offending somebody. No, don't think so. You're getting me, the real deal. And that's just the way it's always going to be. I look forward to connecting to quite a few of you real soon. FireYourBoss.xyz. Half the reason I make these videos is the mystery of who I'm going to connect with tomorrow. I don't know who it's going to be. I just know it's going to be. And I know it's going to be organic because you're not getting a facade. I don't care about protecting my ego from getting hurt. I will get hurt from time to time, and I will be okay. I'll gain something from the experience every time. All right, that's it for real. Now I'm cutting it off. Talk to you real soon. Bye for now.